Jonathan Hickman.
Isaac.
And I'm Jeff Marker. And you're watching the Film Fix.
At last, I'm gonna get played with.
Rex?
Come to Papa.
Toy Story. Toy Story 3, that is. It was a little bit scary, right? I loved the part with the train in the book. I liked the part when Buzz talked in Spanish.
It's not my fault.
Bitácora espacial. Me he despertado del hipersueño en un planeta extraño.
I think that everyone should like it, and my most favorite part was that there was a big Mr. Piggy. Yeah, that was funny too.
So we just heard from what one would think would be the target demographic for this film, our kids, but and they're playing here as we shoot the show. But what do you think? You think this Toy Story 3 might skew a little older?
I think it does skew a little bit older. There was an innocence to the first two Toy Story movies that I think is long gone. You have, the villains in this movie are toys, and they treat each other pretty badly, and I think that's going to be disturbing for a lot of kids. There is some really intense imagery, and they find a lot of ways to put Andy's toys in great peril.
Hello? You and your friends ain't ever getting out of here.
The original Toy Story came out in 1995. It was the first Pixar feature. It was the first completely computer-generated feature film. And then the sequel came out in 1999, and now in 2010 we have what many might think to be an unnecessary final or third film or wrap up to the trilogy and that kind of thing. Do you think that this was a necessary sequel?
I don't think it was at all. The first two movies, which I still love, I think they hold up on repeated viewing. If you have young children at home, you probably have been through that too. And so they've covered it all. This one doesn't add anything to the general world of these characters, to the story. There's nothing new. This is basically an excuse to have a series of action sequences where the toys are put in peril. And it's a really extended, I thought, gratuitous goodbye to these characters.
Who's Velocistar 237?
Oh, that's just a dinosaur toy down the street. That's nothing. Let me just take care of that. Just a dinosaur.
Given the fact that this is now a 15-year-old series, the target demographic might be those that saw it as children and want to see something that extends what they remember. And I think that this movie does it.
Maybe that's what they're shooting for, is the people who grew up with the Toy Story movies and who are going off to college like Andy, and they're saying goodbye. But to me, Pixar is in an interesting period. They were mostly their own entity for most of their existence. A few years ago, they actually became a formal part of Disney. And so then, they release Up, and most people like that very much, and it did very well. But, now they're getting to the point where a lot of their key people are going on to other projects, and the animation features are being handed over not to new people. Lee Unkrich has been around for quite some time, and
that's the director of the Toy Story 3.
Right, but are the movies going to change now that they are actually part of Disney? And I hate to say it, but I hope this is not a sign of where they're going, because this was among the most forgettable of the Pixar movies.
Well, and if you name your top Pixar movies, I know that Ratatouille is one of your favorites, I guess.
Ratatouille and Incredibles are very good. I think Toy Story 2 is about as good as they've done, actually.
Well, I liked Wall-E, and I thought that it was the risks that Pixar needed to take. However, I found this very entertaining, maybe more along the lines of, say, Cars in entertainment, and I think that that's going to obviously spell financial success. This was a guaranteed hit anyway.
Sure.
Yeah.
It is. And I think that's a good comparison. Cars is a watchable movie It has some enjoyable scenes, but ultimately it doesn't mean a whole lot. We don't latch on to the characters and cars like we do in so many of the other movies, including the first two Toy Stories.
Yeah.
And I think this third one is very much like that.
But what happens when the kids grow up?
Well, now I'll tell you. When the kids get old, new ones come in. When they get old, new ones replace them. You'll never be outgrown or neglected, never abandoned or forgotten. No owners means no heartbreak.
Tell us a little bit about how you think this extends the Toy Story mythology.
I just don't think it does. They meet a lot of other toys. I mean, we sort of had the toys come to the decision at the end of the last movie that they're going to stick with Andy no matter what. Well, fast forward many years and Andy's going off to college. And so what's going to happen to them? And all these questions were suggested by the previous two movies. I don't think there are any more new questions. There's no mythology. There aren't a whole lot of new characters that really offer much new.
No, I totally disagree. I think that the daycare setting, this movie, it definitely borrows a lot from Animal Farm, and there's this really kind of a neat thing going on where Barbie aptly points out that they must shed the bonds of tyranny, and that I think is what I think it makes it a little more sophisticated, and so I liked that part of it. In fact, I got a little moved by it. One thing that is for sure with video games, with mass production of toys, with a whole lot of toys available just about everywhere. Those unique toys that you hang on to, I don't know that kids today have a long-term relationship with toys. There's always a new one. They buy it every year. This movie, I think, talked about in a very, very, very eloquent way how children need to have a relationship with their toys. I say need. They can learn a lot, and there at the end, there's a great denouement. I think the human characters in the movie look great.
Yeah.
You know, I felt like there was that connection, and I guess maybe I'm higher on this film than I thought I was when we started this discussion.
I think there were some entertaining moments. They had some good fun with Ken and Barbie, but the fact is, it's kind of obvious fun. There aren't, they don't do much inventive with Ken and Barbie. They just kind of take the existing Ken and Barbie mythology and make some wisecracks about it. And so, that's good and fine, and it was kind of entertaining, and it had some moments. But ultimately, I think it'll do well. Some people will enjoy it, and then we'll forget about it in a couple of years.
Talk to us a little bit before we go about the animation.
Well, the animation is fine. We talked about this beforehand. Using toys as your characters gives you a sort of built-in conceit. The rest of the world looks completely naturalistic, and then you've got the toys that are already designed for you,
That's right.
more or less, and they just use those as their characters. And so the animation is up to Pixar standards, but I don't think it broke new ground. In fact, one of the things to talk about...
I loved the dog. The old dog in the movie. I found him to be just incredibly well put together. He looked real, and it was a great juxtaposition with the dog, a real-looking dog, of course animated, and then the toys that are supposed to look like toys.
Right.
I really liked that. So,
Well, and we can ask if this movie in general is necessary, but did this movie have to be in 3D?
well, that's a great question. I don't think so. I kept popping, or a few times I popped my glasses off just to see. There are sequences in the movie that don't seem to be in 3D. A couple of times at the daycare, I felt like it did take advantage of the 3D, but for the most part, it probably wasn't necessary.
No, I don't. I agree completely. It's another movie that used 3D as an afterthought and a way to get $3 more.
Psst, hey, hello, hi, excuse me. Shh. Can you tell me where I am?
Shh. The guy's just asking a question.
Well, excuse me. I'm trying to stay in character.
My name's Buttercup. You've met Baron von Schush.
Hello, I'm Trixie.
The big question of the evening, Jeff, did you get your fix from Toy Story 3?
This is the first time in the entire existence of Pixar that I would say no. I didn't much care for it.
Well, I did get my fix. I am not a student of the series, so maybe I just liked it more because I wasn't a student of the series. But yeah, I got my fix from the film. Thank you for watching the Film Fix this week. I'm Jonathan Hickman.
I'm Jeff Marker.
And you can always visit us on the web by going to dailyfilmfix.com, where you can feed your movie addiction.
I am Layla Khan Hickman, and I am Isaac Jeff Marker. That's funny. Toy Story 3.